Do you believe that miracles still happen in our time, in the most ordinary and unexpected places? What if I told you that, inside a modest house, in the dead of night, in a room hidden by despair, Our Lady performed something so extraordinary that it rewrote the destiny of an entire life, transforming sadness into palpable and unshakable hope? I know, it seems like a bold statement, but the truth is that this narrative is a beacon that shows divine light at work when all seems lost, and I can't wait to unfold every moment of this miracle here with you. Before we delve deeper into this journey of faith, write in the comments below the names of those people you love, whether family, friends, or neighbors, who you know are going through difficult times and urgently need a miracle and lots of prayer. We will take each of these names and include them in our main prayer with the Rosary, asking for Our Lady's powerful intercession for each of them. In the humble house at number 453, in a neighborhood where stories intermingled among the ancient trees and cobblestone streets, lived a person named Sophia. Deep down, she wasn't just Sophia, but a soul shrouded in a dense fog of accumulated problems, pain, and losses that suffocated her day after day. The house, once filled with laughter and warm light, now reflected its residents' melancholy. The curtains remained almost always closed, and a heavy silence filled the rooms, except for a small respite in the farthest bedroom, where Sophia spent most of her time. Her once vibrant mental and physical health had gradually faded, and each new day seemed merely an exhausting repetition of the last, weighed down by the unbearable weight of an anguish that no one on the outside seemed able to truly reach or fully understand, no matter how hard they tried. The flame that once burned brightly in Sophia's heart, fueled by dreams and hopes, was now nearly extinguished. She had reached a point of total exhaustion, where the mere thought of starting over or fighting seemed like an insurmountable mountain. Having given up on life, as many might describe it, Sophia increasingly isolated herself, cutting off ties with the outside world, even with those who loved her so much. It was a despondency so deep that it took root in her soul, transforming her days into a monochrome of hopelessness and making her believe there was no longer a solution to her problems, that her prayers were unheard, and that, somehow, she had been forgotten by divine grace. Her bed had become a safe haven of isolation, a place where she could hide from the sunlight and the pitying looks she imagined on every face. However, Sophia's true story is not only about the abyss of her grief, but about the strength of those who, even faced with a wall of indifference and silence, refused to let go of her hand. Her family and a select circle of faithful friends were like guardian angels in the flesh, who knew, instinctively and out of love, that behind that opaque gaze and that profound isolation, the Sophia they loved, the Sophia who dreamed and laughed, still existed, just imprisoned by overwhelming pain. They were not people to give up easily, and for them, love meant fighting tirelessly for her recovery, even when Sophia had lost all hope in herself, weaving an invisible but unwavering network of support around that house at number 453. The faith and love of these friends and family became the anchor that kept Sophia, albeit indirectly, connected to an almost imperceptible thread of hope. With moving devotion and a pact never to abandon her, they decided that if they couldn't force their way into her heart and mind during those dark days, they would create a siege of light, prayer, and presence outside her window, as a constant reminder that she was not alone. Thus, with admirable persistence that defied routine, day after day, rainy or sunny, they began to gather on the sidewalk in front of house 453, bringing with them not only words of comfort and rosaries, but also unwavering faith, demonstrating how much they were there for Sophia, patiently waiting for the sign of rebirth. Meanwhile, within the four walls of her room, Almost always in the dark, Sophia heard the muffled echoes of the voices outside, of the chants and prayers, which seemed to drown out the voice of her own anguish. She, who had always been a person of deep and unshakable faith, felt that this same faith had abandoned her in the cruelest moments of her life, and she doubted whether any trace of it still existed within her. Her mind sometimes deceived her, making her think that those outside were mocking her weakness, or that her efforts were in vain. And although at times a tiny spark of hope tried to shine, the weight of despair and bitter memories quickly overwhelmed it, almost completely extinguishing any glimmer of faith she tried to rekindle. Time passed, and the persistence of those who loved Sophia proved to be a force greater than time. The weeks stretched into months, and the silent but powerful vigil in front of House 453 became a living testament to the resilience of collective faith and the strength of Our Lady. One late afternoon, one of Sophia's closest family members, her Aunt Maria, a woman of deep and unwavering faith, passing by a rosary that Sophia herself had given her years ago, felt an overwhelming impulse, almost a whisper in her heart. She didn't think twice. She took the rosary in both hands and, along with the others gathered on the sidewalk, began to pray louder than usual, not a generic prayer, but a fervent cry, asking for Our Lady's direct intercession. Directing each Hail Mary specifically to Sophia's room, asking for a sign, a relief, a miracle. It was precisely in that moment of most fervent prayer, focused on the four walls of the room in House 453, that something indescribable and extraordinary happened. In the oppressive, suffocating silence of her room, where Sophia lay powerless and almost without hope, she felt a strange lightness, a relief she had not experienced in a long time, as if an ancient weight had been lifted from her back and chest. It was not a blinding flash, nor a spectacular vision, but a soft, warm presence that suddenly permeated the air, like a maternal embrace coming from nothingness and infinity at the same time. The heavy curtains, which had remained closed for so long, parted slightly on their own, with a gentle movement and a light, which seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at the same time, bathed the room in a profound peace. At that moment, an unexpected and divine power filled Sophia, making her get out of bed, walk to the window, and, in an unthinking gesture, open it to greet the setting sun. News of the event spread like wildfire throughout the neighborhood. Sophia herself went downstairs and opened the door to an emotional meeting with her family and friends. With eyes brimming with gratitude, she reported feeling Our Lady acting in her room, filling her with peace and new strength, restoring not only the faith she had lost, but also the joy of living. It was truly unbelievable, but it was there, visible to all, a Sophia reborn, the living testimony of a miracle. Sophia's story, with its dose of faith and intercession, is not a distant tale or an isolated curiosity. It resonates profoundly in our own lives, as a mirror of our own challenges and the need for prayer in each new day. Just as Sophia found herself on the brink of giving up, how many of us have faced moments when hope seems to slip through our fingers, where peace in our hearts seems an unattainable goal, and forgiveness, both for ourselves and others, seems too heavy a burden? It is in these moments, and in all others, that we are called to cultivate faith with the same persistence as Sophia's friends, seeking preaching that edifies, cultivating daily prayer, asking for more conversions, and strengthening our trust in God and in the intercession of Our Lady. This narrative reminds us that perseverance in prayer and unconditional love are the most powerful tools for divine grace to act, transforming what seemed lost into a vibrant testimony of life and miracles. And once again, I invite you to leave the names of all those loved ones in need of prayer in the comments. We will lovingly and faithfully include them in our main prayer with the Rosary, asking for Our Lady's intercession. This story of the miracle in House 453 and Our Lady's clear action in that room is an invitation for each of us to reflect on the power we have in our faith and our ability to be instruments of divine intercession. Which part of this story touched you most? Have you ever experienced or know someone who has witnessed a miracle that restored hope? Share your perspective with us here in the comments, as every experience inspires and strengthens us. If this video touched your heart and renewed your faith, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our inspiring stories, and share it with your friends and family so this message of hope and faith can reach more hearts. May God's grace and Our Lady's protection be with you always.